Morning, everyone. Because we've got Erin on the show talking about parenting, I thought I'd have to come up with a parenting joke. So, what did the mama tomato say to the baby tomato?
What, Talos?
Catch up.
All right. So you're saying it to tomato.
Tomato.
Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to the Masterful Morning Show. So delighted to have a wonderful guest today. We have Erin Holland, the founder of PG-ish Parenting, with us.
In the dark. I don't know what's going on.
We are also representing every sort of lighting you can possibly have on Zoom. We're so delighted to have you here, Erin. I am a huge fan of the show. I know that sounds weird. I'm not a parent, but I feel like I learned so much from, learning what you're sharing on the show, which has episodes that come out every Tuesdays and Thursdays. And they're clips of really beautiful wisdom for parents, for children. And I've even heard just like snippets of your life and snippets from your children. So that's been a really cool experience to learn about. So I guess I'd like to kick it off with, what are you doing with this podcast? Like, what is your aim for it? And maybe tell anyone who hasn't heard of it, what's it all about?
Yeah, so my goal with the podcast was really to create nuggets of information that parents could take quickly and digest and put into practice. So most of the episodes, like 99%, are under 15 minutes. And pre-COVID, it was like, oh, you can listen to this on your commute and kind of just digest it and then put it into practice. Now we don't really have commutes or boundaries. So I don't know when people are listening to their podcasts, but it's still the same length and just really trying to, grow yourself as the parent, as an individual, and then kind of bring your kids along in on that and just kind of plugging away with it. I did hold a summit in September, which was a little weekend workshop. And so big picture, trying to move forward with those ideas going into 2021, albeit virtually still. So lots of things in the works. Just trying to find the time to put them into play.
That's really awesome. And you took action on it and you went forward and created this podcast that's really helpful to so many of us. What is it? I mean, we coach people, we talk to people, we deal with people so often. And the biggest thing that's beneficial is taking action, but so few people actually do it. They have their purpose, they have their why, but just going forward is their block. And that's what we help people through. But what is it for you personally? What was the thing, if there's one thing that helped you actually go and take action on your podcast?
Yeah, I can't say that. Well, there was one thing. And I mean, this was a couple years ago, and I was pivoting from being a health coach, kind of figuring out what was next. I do have a full-time job and then single parent. And so it's not like I have time, right, to do all these things. And our good friend, Sean Croxton, which I think he's having another parenting week this week or soon. But a couple years ago, he had a parenting week on the Quote of the Day show. And I reached out and was like, that was so great. Like, it really changed my life. And he was like, well, you should do it. And I'm like, because I need one more thing to do. Like, don't tell me that. And he just planted that seed for sure. And I think it took me, 6 months to even really consider it. And then he reached back out and was like, hey, that idea of yours, which was not my idea because it was his, to do that podcast, like someone else reached out and you should either take action or like not do it because someone else is going to do it first. And I don't know, that just lit the fire under me. And I was like, no, I'm going to be that person to do it. And started watching all the YouTube videos of how to do it, bought my microphone and just started doing it. Yeah, I mean, it really was, not taking action for so long and then having someone be like, you can totally do this thing, like just go out and do it. And it's going to be good for yourself, for other listeners, for your kids, like just do it.
That's awesome. It's good to see that. And then I'm also to Sean, he's really good at lighting that fire and getting you moving. But that's
Yes.
great. I mean, so many still just don't do it. So great job.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's a lot of fear in starting, no doubt. I'm definitely an introvert too, and like putting my voice out there, I'm like, who am I to do this? Like, what the heck, you know? But it's definitely my third child, and I love it. And I don't listen to my first episodes at all, but I'm sure I'd cringe, and just am proud of where I am in the journey of it all too. So it's exciting.
That's fantastic, Erin. So most people would agree that parenting's pretty tough. Kids challenge you at your worst times.
Yes.
And then there's single parenting, which I think is the next level. So what advice do you have for people who are single parents?
I think first and foremost, it's, you know, the old age tale of putting your mask on first. And I'm no expert at this, but I think you can't pour from an empty cup. I'm using all the cliches here right now, but really it's, you know, finding that time to sleep, which Marion can definitely speak to this, of just scheduling that time for yourself, whether it's a bath, which I highly recommend. I used to think that they were gross, but now I think they're amazing. Yeah. You know, calling a friend, going for a walk, yeah, getting that sleep in. That's first and foremost, right? Is taking care of yourself so that you do have more to give from. And then next, I would say, is just creating like family rhythms. I know right now, working from home, the distance learning, like everyone's in everyone's face all the time, and it's hard. And I feel like there's a lot of unmet needs throughout the day. And so I think finding those times to connect with each kid is super important. We make a point of going out at lunch for walks, even if it's me like dragging my youngest because she doesn't want to walk, you know, like, we're going to do this. This is fun. We also have, which my kids do love, and it's this thing that we've done for probably 8 years now, is, and it's a long one and I always mix up the words, but it's Friday sushi picnic movie date night, which means that the kiddos pick out a movie, they put a blanket on the floor, I make some sushi, which is like super simple canned tuna, like nothing fancy, guys. And they even know how to make it now. So sometimes I bring them in and have them do it. And then we just watch a movie together. And they know, they're like, it's Friday, we get to do this thing. And they get excited. And I think it's just creating things that are not stressful in your life, especially as a single parent. Like, I love having dinner with my kids. Sometimes I don't always want to talk to them, but Fridays, it's like, oh, we can just watch a movie and enjoy this and have fun, and breathe and let go of the week. So I think it's really creating those daily like touch points and the weekly rhythms just to help ease a single parent's mind of everything else that they're trying to manage, for sure.
That's super awesome because it's, you know, a lot of times we get that overwhelm where, you know, the kids are always looking to you for the entertainment, for this, for that. And then you've really created something special to where they know, oh, great, we get to do it together. Yet they're, you know, they're going to be watching the TV. So you can be together and still unwind and relax and know everything's good. So that's beautiful.
Exactly.
Erin, you feature a lot of mentors on your podcast. Have there been any specific one or a few that have really made a lasting impression on how you're parenting?
I really love Sir Ken Robinson, who passed away recently. I just love his approach to parenting, of like, and I think in general, what I've learned even from the last year of my show is like parenting's fluid, right? Like there's no textbook answer. And I think a lot of us want that answer to make it easy, but it's not easy. And we can definitely find ways to make it easier. But I think Sir Ken Robinson is always kind of asking the questions of like, should our kids be learning this in school? Like, how can we change the education system to better prepare them for the future? You know, it shouldn't be all this test taking. And I just really appreciated his approach. And then other people like Mel Robbins, who I feature this week, like just the no nonsense approach, and also questioning kind of the rules that we've heard or have been passed down. So, and then finally, Shelley Lefko, she's just kind of a parenting guru, but she also is like no nonsense of like, let your kids get messy, like parenting, adulting, it's all messy, but like, let's have fun with it and like, let things go, because that's how people learn. Like, make the mistakes in the beginning, practice again, get better, put yourself out there. So I think those are my top 3.
Awesome. So like with your podcast, you're kind of modeling to your own children your pursuit of the self-development journey, and the people who are listening to your podcast are also trying to grow themselves into better parents. And how is that modeling, influencing the children? And do you have any advice on how they could also be pursuing their own journey, in the span of their childhood?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're constantly evolving. I think we're different people than we were last year. So putting that on kids is a lot because they're already growing and developing so rapidly. But I think it's just planting those seeds now. I mean, I have so many conversations with my girls of like, what are you thinking about? Like the angry monster is out and you're just nasty, but like, get some food. Let's think some happy thoughts. Like, how can we change the situation? And kind of reframing things that I'm learning, but tailoring it toward their age. And I'll catch them every now and then, kind of repeat things. I'm like, okay, so some of it's sticking, but I think just thinking what they're thinking about is a key one right now, because it's really easy for kids to go in that mindset of like, when one thing happens that's not so great and they're like, my whole life sucks, it's ruined. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, take a step back, let's reevaluate, like, what can we do to shake out like this angst inside of you? Another fun thing that we do, which is a key for single parents too, or any parent really, but we have a lot of dance parties. And if my kids won't sit to like meditate and be still and breathe, which only works like 2% of the time, dance parties, you can't be sad and dance at the same time. So like, that's kind of the opposite of meditating for them, but it does just kind of get it all out and shake it out, and it just can change the mood of the home so quickly. And so we have a lot of dances in our living room that I'm sure our neighbors just love, but it's all good.
Oh, I love that. The dancing is huge in my house, at least with my son. My son will just we just destroy the whole kitchen. It's fun.
Yeah.
I really love the point you made as far as planting the seed. I think, becoming a single parent, like the new phases of it, and, trying to, teach things to my kids, I'd get frustrated because it would seem like, oh, they're just not getting it. And obviously it's my lack of, demonstrating and modeling it for so long beforehand. And, it took a very long while. And then suddenly I'd catch them repeating something that probably Sean said on a podcast, or, something that I've said or that we've been teaching. So, it's just not very long ago. My daughter's like, can you get me up at 6:30 so we can go running? And like exercise and movement's huge in my life, and it's been that way for a while, but just, it takes a while. So that's such a beautiful message to give to the parents out there. Plant the seed and keep watering it and taking care of it. I love that. That's so inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately as a parent, you are the model, right? For good or bad. So yeah, it's just making those choices as the parent of what you want to be emulated, because you know that they're always watching. Just brief story, last night was not fun in my household because no one wanted to go to sleep, but I was very tired. And so my youngest this morning, after I was like, I'm going to bed, like, good night, she's like, so mommy, when you went to your room, I did some burpees in the hallway. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, how cool is that you decided to do that? But also, like, yeah, I work out in the morning and they watch me doing burpees apparently. And that's what she decided to do. So they are always watching and picking up on those cues. So it's just up to us as that parent to model well, which is not like to shame anyone, right? It's, just making those choices and doing the best you can.
That's wonderful. Erin, how can people find you?
Yeah, I do have a website. It's pghparenting.com. I like to hang out on Instagram, and you can find me at pghparenting there as well. Those are, yeah, my two best places, as well as the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have linked to her website in the description. You can also grab her 12 Easy Ways to Connect with Your Kids guide, and it has a healthy waffle recipe. So it's a no-brainer to download.
Yeah. Say that
Awesome.
3 times though.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Erin.
Thank you guys. This is awesome.
Thank you, Erin. And thank you, Karen, for watching.